Hey guys, welcome back to Martin's Vinyl. This is a response video to Dylan at Noble Records. He's done a summer vinyl tag video for the vinyl community. If you're unfamiliar what a vinyl tag is, this is normally done at the start of the year, where 20 questions have been put forth to the vinyl community, and all you got to do is answer with a record. And this has come at a great time for me because Dylan has done a summer theme one for the summertime, and it's a great time because I've just come back from a music festival, and as you can see, I've caught the sun really badly. You can see it on my nose. Yes, I'm a bit sunburned around my forehead and my nose. Another reason why it's a good time for me, because I've been picking up some killer records recently, and this is a great case for me to showcase them. So let's do it. If you want to get involved, just type in Dylan Noble Records and check out his video, and he's got all the questions there for you to follow. So let's do it. 20 questions, 20 records. Question number 1, here we go. Name an album or a song with the word summer in the title. Well, I've gone with Blues Creation, Demon and His 11 Children from 1971. The name of the track is called One Summer's Day. I can't show you the track because it's all in Japanese. But Blues Creation, if you've never heard of them, they were one of the leaders in pioneering Japanese rock to the rest of the world. Hard rock, psychedelic rock, blues rock. The track One Summer's Day is quite a slow harmonic track, but that leads into another track called Brainbuster, which is a killer psychedelic guitar. Really awesome, this track, that one. It's a great album. Best way for me to describe Blues Creation from Japan is that if Black Sabbath were born in Japan, if they were Japanese, this is what they would sound like. So yeah, if you're a Black Sabbath fan, which I'm sure we all are, you should definitely check out this one. Really, really good. Question number 2, showcase your latest heavy pull. What Dylan is asking us to do is showcase our latest Grail, one of those records that's been on our most wanted list and he finally ticked off. I'm going to go with Dust from 1971. Brilliant heavy rock, borderline metal rock from the early 70s. Now, this is the first UK press. This one at the back here is the first American press. And these ones are a lot more common and definitely a lot more cheaper compared to this one, which is a lot more hard to find. And it's definitely a lot more expensive compared to the first US press. But the reason why I picked this one up is because of its uniqueness. This is actually a BBC archive library copy. You can see the stickers on the back. Now, this one has been kept in the BBC's basement for decades, since I'm guessing the 70s, just for their archive, documentative purposes, for research, and whatever the reasons and why they kept them. But they managed to sell them all off on an auction, and I managed to pick up this one. But probably in the early 70s, this one was most likely played for their radio output. So that's why it's unique for me and a bit of a grail. Purely because it was used for the BBC's radio purposes, for their media output. So, very unique find. It just tickles the collector bone in me with records. So, that is why I picked this one up. If you don't know who Dust are, they're a great early heavy rock band from the early 70s. One thing to take note is the drummer, Mark Bell, went on to join the Ramones as their drummer. So, worth noting, worth checking out. Really good stuff. Question 3, do a whack-a-mole. There's another channel on YouTube run by a guy called Mazzy. I can't think of the name of the channel off the top of my head, but it's run by a guy called Mazzy. And what he does on his channel, he's got a massive record collection, and he just he pulls out records blindly and he talks about them. That's all good and well for Dylan and Mazzy because they've got massive record collections. But for us mortals, our collections might not be that big. So I thought I'd just use this as an excuse to talk about a record that I don't think I've talked about before on my channel. This is Jane, Free from 1974. Jane are an incredible German rock band. And for me as a record collector, I like to find copies of the record from where the band is from. So this is a German band, and this is a first German press. Very, very good condition, almost mint. A really good copy. If you haven't heard of Jane, if you're fans of Pink Floyd, Deep Purple, Hawkwind, because this combines a lot of spacey, heavy rock together, and it also has some great scorching guitar work on here. if you want to get into German krautrock music, this is a great start. Really good German krautrock band. Really good. Question number 4. Show an album with an animal on the cover. I've gone with Atomic Rooster, and that's the animal that I've picked. A very, unique looking animal, I have to say. Yes, Atomic Rooster, godfathers of prog rock from 1970. This was formed by members of the band from The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Vincent Crane is on the organ and Carl Palmer is on the drums. When they were first starting out, they were touring with the likes of Deep Purple, but unfortunately, Carl Palmer left to join the band we all know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Very sad, but their follow-up album, Death Walks Behind You, this one's getting a massive following now. A lot of younger generations are discovering this album, and this is turning into one of their favourite records of all time. Really, really good. Heavy prog sound. Yes, Atomic Rooster are the origin of dark sound of heavy progressive rock. For prog fans, this is a must-have. Yes, it is a very unique cover. Interesting fact I can say, in Australia they were offended by this one, and in the Australian presses they actually cover up the boobies. All right. Okay, question number 5 and 6. I'm going to kind of combine these two questions, because question number 5 is an album with a great story, and question number 6 is an album we should be surprised to see in your collection. But I'm going to answer it with this one. This is Red Rum Club. Completely different to the style of music I have in my collection. In my collection I have 70s rock, 70s hard rock, psychedelic, progressive, space rock, blues. I love all of that. I don't have pop music. I think this is more on the indie pop side. But it's just me, as a music lover, I don't ever listen to today's music. This album came out earlier this year. But I don't collect new music. I don't listen to new music. I really don't know much about new music. If it was a gun to my head and I was asked to name 3 Taylor Swift songs, I'd be dead, because I couldn't tell you. I'll probably get round to... It's not that I don't like new music, it's just that I'm so distracted from music in the past that I'm completely oblivious to music today. But anyway, the reason I heard about this band, Red Rum Club, is because a friend of me and my wife's, her name is Charlotte Humphrey, she designs all the cover art and design and everything for the band. So they got this one, this came out this year, but she also did this one and this one. And of course, that's how we discovered it, and we listened to it, and I like it. My wife really likes it, but who likes it more than the two of us is my daughter Bethany. She really has taken to the band. And the reason why this is a great story, because they managed to tour in our local area of Southampton. And of course, this was her first ever gig that she went to see live. She's never seen a band before because of her age. She's only 11. But she came with us. And the great thing is that she was at school earlier that day, but me and my wife had the opportunity because they were signing records at a record store local to where the venue was. So me and my wife managed to meet the band, got them all signed. As you can see, I managed to sign them all. Got them all signed, and we told them about our daughter, Bethany, how much of a fan she was, that she'll be coming to see the band later. Anyway, we go and see them. We have a great time. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you some clips of me and my daughter watching them. This is quite funny, so make sure you stick around to the end to see that clip. But as we were leaving, the band clocked us as we were leaving, and they were shouting my daughter's name, like Bethany, Bethany, and she was completely dumbstruck. Met the band, didn't say a word to them because she didn't know what to say, but we managed to get pictures and stuff of them. But it was just really funny that they remembered her, and they pulled her out and they took some photos with her, and it's just her reaction at the time of meeting the band, which is which is a memory that I probably won't forget. Really, really good. Anyway, Red Rum Club, they did manage to make it. This was in the top 10 album. So if you're into indie pop, check them out. Question number 7. Cheap Heat. Show a killer record that doesn't cost very much. I'm going to go with The Undisputed Truth, Cosmic Truth. Brilliant funk and soul, but more on the psychedelic side. If you're fans of Funkadelics and Parliament, Undisputed Truth is a much more cheaper way to go if you want to get a good psychedelic funk and soul in your collection. From 1975, this one's been on my radar for a long, long time because there's a song on here called Down by the River, Neil Young cover, and it's very quiet in places, so I needed to find a good, clean copy. There is a clip of me trying to find this record in New York, and I did manage to find a copy, but the grading was awful, so I didn't pick it up. Yes, you need to find a good, clean copy to appreciate that song, because like I said, it is quiet in places. It's a great song. I mentioned Funkadelics' Maggot Brain. That song and this song, it's so close to me. Maggot Brain's a great song, but this one, Down by the River, if you're going to take anything away from this video, please check out Down by the River by The Undisputed Truth. Really, really good. It's kind of got a love-hate relationship with that song because you listen to it and you get really into it. You're like, yeah, this is amazing. And near the end of the song, it goes into this killer psychedelic guitar solo, and then it fades away. That song should have been another minute or two just with that guitar, because that was awesome. But yeah, I'm like loving the song, and it was like a little quiet. No, what are you doing when they fade it out? It's like when you listen to Freebird, Leonard Skinner on the radio, and they cut the solo short, and you're like, why? That's what I feel when I listen to that album. But the rest of the album is still killer. Please check it out. And it's really cheap. In America, you can find copies for $10 at least. So, Undisputed Truth, Cosmic Truth. Okay, question number 8. Show a 45 7-inch. I don't really collect them. I do have them. I'm going to show you some, but I'm not a massive collector of 7 inches. For me, as you know, it's only one side, one song each side. There's no cover art, and because of what they're kept in, you can never find any in good quality. Anyway, I managed to do something this year. I managed to finish my Fleetwood Mac LP collection. I've got their debut, the Blue Horizon. I've got Mr. Wonderful on the Blue Horizon label. And this one I've picked up this year, which I'll get back to in another question of this one. This is Then Play On. This is the first press on the Reprise label. But as you know, those are the LPs, but they released a lot of singles before they start making albums. And there's a lot of songs which are my absolute favourites that didn't appear on these LPs. They did appear in American pressings and reissues and compilations, but when they first came out, because I'm a first copy edition person, that's just the collector in me, I like to find the first presses. And for example, Black Magic Woman is one of my favourite Peter Green songs, and it's not on an LP, so I wanted the 7-inch, and I managed to pick that one up this year. This is Black Magic Woman on the first press Blue Horizon label. The second side is Sun is Shining, also a very good song. And Then Play On, the album I mentioned earlier, one of my favourite songs is Oh Well, which I've heard digitally. Oh Well's on there, but it's not on the first UK presses. It's on the first American presses, but not on the first UK press. So I managed to find Oh Well Part 1 and Part 2 on the Reprise label. So that is my 7 inches. I don't go, like I said, I don't go massive on 7 inches. It's only if I'm a really big fan of the band / song. Question number 9. What's your favourite music documentary or biopic? There's a great one, which I think you can still watch on YouTube. It's called Last Days Here. It's about a band, Pentagram. The band themselves are a doom, heavy metal, hard rock band from the late 70s, 80s. And the documentary starts with this guy who's a record producer, or he works for a record label, something like that, finding the record at a record fair, Pentagram, knowing nothing about them, but immediately falls in love with this with this album, and he wants to know more about the band. So he tries to find the band members, and he finds the lead singer in his parents' basement. The guy's in his late 40s, 50s, still living in his parents' basement, and the guy has been taken over by addiction. He's a shell of a man. The guy's barely hanging on. Anyway, the producer goes on to try and get him out of this basement slum, trying to get him clean, and trying to get back in the studio to record more music. The documentary goes back and tells you the story about Pentagram, how these guys were great and almost signed to. There are lots of opportunities to sign to a major label, but because of the lead singer's addiction, his name's Bobby Liebling, it failed them every time. The guy is a huge addict. But I don't want to give it away because I want you guys to watch it, but it's a really interesting watch. I don't own anything by Pentagram because they're very rare and very expensive. I'll probably get my hands on a reissue or compilation sooner or later, but I don't normally do that sort of thing. But anyway, check out the documentary, really good. Last Days here. Question number 10, show a box set. Right, I'm going to be super quick with this answer because I've shown this one in a recent video and it's my only box set. I don't collect box sets. I'm a first pressing sort of collector. So for me, a box set is just a box of reissues and I don't want that in my collection. But I picked this one up. This is Band of Skulls. It's a local band to me from Southampton. Very similar sounding to the band The Raconteurs with Jack White. We see them live every time they come back to their hometown. I only picked this one up because I spoke to the lead singer and I was like, I wanted a first press of their album. He said they're really hard to find, that even he didn't have a copy. Anyway, I buy the box set because I didn't think I'd ever find a first press. But I go to New York, lo and behold, I find a copy. So I'm still going to keep the box set because he signed that one for me. And there's a lot of great additional stuff on there. But for me as a collector, I don't collect box sets. Question 11, your most trashed record in your collection. Me, again, as a record collector, it doesn't go in my collection unless it's at least a VG+. I don't mind a bit of crackle. But when there's a lot of crackle, lots of pops and clicks and jumps and skips, all the above, it's not going to go in my collection because I'm not going to listen to it. But I do have this record, and this record is one of the first ones to go in my collection. This is Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizard, a very well-known album, records. I don't have to go into any details. Classic rock, classic prog, all very familiar, from 1972. But it's trashed. It's really bad condition. And the cover's not that bad, but the spine's, you can't read the spine. The sleeve is all torn, and the record, I don't know if you can see it, there's lots of scratches, lots of marks on this one. I don't know if you can see, there's a big one there, in the middle of the ring there. I can listen to it, but there's lots of pops and crackles and stuff. So I do have this one because I do really like it, but I've been wanting an upgrade copy for the longest time. This isn't a hard record to find. Very, very common and very, very cheap. But to find good, clean copies of this one is extremely difficult. So I'm still on the hunt for an upgrade copy of this one. Question 12. Show a local album from a band that's local to you. I'm going to go with Dr. Brown in the Land of Red and Gold. Band from Portsmouth. They're actually in my neighbouring town, but it's close enough to count. Amazing. If you love the 70s blues rock, psychedelic rock, acid rock in places on this one, then you'll love this one. This one came out in the late 80s, early 90s. Incredible. Definitely up my street. My field of really good music. Really enjoying this one. The only frustrating thing about me is there's not much information about them. They've got this album. And they got this one, In the World of Dreams, this one was called, there's a great song on here called The Oak. Check that song out, and that one will stay with you for days. But these guys signed with this small independent record label called Bearded Records and made these albums. They didn't press many. They're not expensive when you do find one. They are out there. So if you see it, pick it up because it's great. I know they've got another live album, which I haven't got my hands on yet. And I think there's one more. Like I said, there's not much information about them out there. So this is my second shout out through my channel. If you know any information about Dr. Brown, let me know. Because I'd love to know if they're still touring or making music or whatever, if they're still out there. Because I think this albums are great and I'm wanting more people to know about them. So yeah, Dr. Brown, really, really, really good. Question 13, now show an album from a faraway land. We just did a local one, now a faraway land record. I'm going with When the Raven Has Come to Earth. This is a band from Japan. Very similar sounding album to the one I showed earlier, Blues Creation. This is another Japanese hard rock band that came out from the early 70s. Again, with the blues rock, psychedelic rock, hard rock, and there's a bit of prog in places in that one. If you're fans of Hendrix, Free, Paul Kossoff and Free, and Uriah Heep, which I just shown, if you just put them in a blender, you're gonna get this When the Raven Comes to Earth. That's the best way I can describe it. Very Black Sabbath sounding. If you're fans of any of those names I've just mentioned, then you're gonna love When the Raven Comes to Earth. The only thing I will say is not the best recording. There are reissues out there. It's a lot cheaper than having a first press. But again, if you like all those names I just mentioned, then please check out When the Raven Has Come to Earth. You will not be disappointed. Question 14, show a soundtrack. All right, I'm going to show you the only soundtrack I've got in my collection. This is Juno from 2007. Yeah, really good soundtrack. It came out 2007. We watched it again recently. The film's not aged well, but the soundtrack is still really killer. It's got The Kinks and Moldy Peaches and Velvet Underground, Sonic Youth all on here. So yeah, it's killer stuff. But it's the first track on here, the opening track to the opening credits of the movie. It's called All I Want Is You, and that's by Barry Lewis Palazza. Really like that song. And I got it just because of that song, this soundtrack, because the guy, Barry Lewis Palazza, is actually a children's entertainer. I picked this one up. No, I listened to the album before I picked it up, and my daughter got wind of it, and she immediately fell in love with it. So this was actually a Holy Grail record of hers. There's actually a reaction video on my channel of me giving her this record. If you've got time, check it out. It's very funny. But yeah, Barry Lewis Palazza, this is like if Bob Dylan was a child's entertainer. That's what he would sound like. Question 15, show your highest recommendation. I'm going to go with Mutsy. This is one of my favourite records, albums ever in my collection. It's definitely in the top 10 for me. This is psychedelic rock, blues rock, acid rock, jazz rock, prog rock, all rolled into one. Love this album. I'm recommending this one is because I never hear it get mentioned in the vinyl community, which I think is a crime, because this is an incredible out there album, which I think you should definitely check out. Guys from Detroit, and it's got that Detroit underground sound to it. It's guitar driven, hard psych rock style with some clear blue elements. Really cool, inventive, weird edge rock. I don't think this sold well and like fell into the world of obscurity, so check it out if you haven't. Mutsy, Light of Your Shadow, highly, highly recommended. Okay, question 16, a record that's high on your want list. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I managed to pick up Dust, debut album, the power trio I mentioned before, hard rock, heavy metal. They only got 2 albums. This is their debut. I really want their follow-up album, Heart Attack. That's the last album they did before Mark Bell went to join the Ramones. If anything, that one is probably better, slightly better than this one. It's a lot more tight and aggressive and more heavy riffs on it. And that album has been on my want list for years. I actually made a video. It's got to be over 2 years now, that video, where I said it's my top 10 most wanted records video, and that one was on there, and I still haven't got my hands on a copy yet. It's not that expensive. It's probably around the 60 to 70 pound range, but they never pressed it here in the UK. You only can get American copies. This one has a UK press, the debut, but their follow-up album didn't have a UK pressing. So very high on my want list. It has been for many years, and fingers crossed I'll find the copy soon. Okay, next question. Question 17 is a channel shout out for another vinyl community member, to give them a shout out, but I'm kind of combining it with the next question. Question 18 is a silver lining in vinyl. Dylan at Noble Records, it says there's too much negativity in the vinyl community. He wants to share some positivity throughout the VC, and what can you share that you can personally share that's a positive in the vinyl community? Well, what I want to share, and it was also combined with the channel shout out, is that I did a thread in my last video, my very first thread. I don't have many subs, so I wasn't expecting much of a response, but my thread was owning multiple copies of the same album, record, and why did you do it? And that was my thread, and I put it out there. I wasn't expecting anyone to respond, because I also said you didn't have to make a video, you could all just leave your answers in the comments. And I got a really good response. I had loads of comments, and not only that, people did make their own video. I didn't get many responses. I got 2, but I wasn't expecting anyone. I just thought I'll start this thread and I'll see what sticks. And there's 2 channels I want to shout out that responded to the video and made their own videos. There's a channel called Stereo 999, Stereo Steve. He's got a great channel. Not only did he answered my video, he did a 2-parter as well. So he made 2 videos based on multiple copies, and they're great. And also the other channel I want to shout out is Gav, and his channel is Gav Axeman Spins. That's the whole name of his channel. He also responded, but he did it all about David Bowie, about all his copies that he had the same of David Bowie. So that was an interesting watch. So thank you very much to both of you to respond to that video. You made my day that day when you did that. So thank you very much. So that's the positivity I want to share in the VC, is that even the small channels like me can get a response sometimes. So thank you very much, vinyl community. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Question 19, show a steal of a deal record. What Dylan's asking us to do is show a record that can be expensive, but you got a sweet deal on it. This is a record I've shown in a previous video about my best finds at charity shops and car boot sales. I found this one for 50p at a car boot sale. It was in a box under a table amongst a load of rubbish, and this one was in there, and inside the jacket was penciled 50p. And I showed it to the woman behind the table. I was like, 50p? And she went, yeah, sure. I was like, brilliant. I grabbed it and I skipped all the way home. But good clean copies of this can be quite expensive. I've been after a good clean copy of this one for years, and I wasn't going to pay a ridiculous amount for it. So 50p all day long. Thank you very much. Okay, last question. Question number 20. Show a promo record. I love a good promo. If you're familiar with my channel, I love finding and collecting promos. I've got a good healthy stack now of promo records. But what I'm going to show you is technically a promo, but it's a bit different. As I mentioned earlier with another record, these BBC Library archive copies I've been kind of obsessed with as of late, because I've got a few of them now. But this is the one I haven't talked about yet. This is Canned Heat's Alleluia from 1969. Very common record. But it's for me as a collector, I'm only going to pick up the more recognisable stuff if there's something unique and different about it. For example, a promo or a BBC Archive library copy, or a really, really clean first press copy of a classic record. That's the only way I'm going to pick them up. But like I said previously, this is a BBC Archive library copy. But back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, if a radio presenter wanted to play this on the air, then he would have to pick up a hard copy and play this record if he wanted to play Canned Heat. So this one was probably used for their radio output purposes back in the day. and it's just been stocked away for decades, and now it's finally in my collection. Yes, it's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the sticker on the back saying it's a BBC Library copy, and it's got the Gamophone BBC Library stamp on the label. The jacket is a bit beaten up, but the reason why I like collecting these is because, yes, the jacket's all damaged, but the records themselves have been kept in super clean, pristine condition. I haven't found a bad copy yet, and they all sound amazing. So that's why I've been picking them up as of late. So yeah, it is a promo record, don't get me wrong, it's just a BBC promo record. Right, that's it. That's all the questions done. Thank you very much if you made it to the end. I look forward to other members of the vinyl community doing their vinyl tag, and don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe. Thank you.